Good day, family. So we're back again, doing another one. Working on the C5 Z as always. As you can see, hood is already removed because I was doing some other stuff, but what we're about to do, having the hood removed, will just make it easier anyway. So we are about to do valve springs. So what we have is these PAC 1218 Beehive valve springs. So these are highly recommended in the LS community. They're known for their reliability and their ability to handle boosts. So that's why I went with these, and they are also affordable. We also have CompCam's machine valve locks, and so the stock valve locks are a cast steel, and they can break during a high RPM abuse and whatnot. So while we're in there, we might as well change them out. If you are interested, the part number is 62316. That will work for all LS's. We're also running CompCam's valve stem seals, which is the one-piece valve stem seal, which is the updated design. So we are going to be running those, and this is the part number for those right here, but they will also be linked in the description. So moving on to the engine, the first thing we are going to do is we are going to remove all of the spark plug wires. We're going to remove the coil packs. We're going to remove the alternator, and we're going to remove the valve cover. So this is pretty self-explanatory. We got these 10mm bolts right here. I believe this is a 14 or 15mm bolt right here for the alternator. Take that off. Need to take tension off the tensioner in order to take off the belt. So I'm just going to time lapse that, and then we'll get back to it and when we got the valve covers off. All right, y'all, as you can see, we have our valve covers off, alternators off, all that good stuff. So we have access to the area that we're gonna be working in today. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to remove these 8mm bolts that hold on the rockers. So I'm going to remove these, but I think I'm gonna rotate the engine to take pressure off of these ones to not put too much pressure on the bolt. Y'all, we are chugging along at a pretty good pace here. I got riggings taking out the spark plugs on that bank. We've already removed on that side. As you see, all of the rocker arms are gone. But while we are here, might as well point out some things I did to my personal car that I think are good upgrades to do while you're already here. So I got one-piece push rods that are also thicker than the OEM push rods. And made out of a stronger material because OEM push rods have balls on the end and they can break a lot easier and are more likely to flex at high RPMs. So that's one thing I did to mine. I'll link those in the bio for y'all. Another thing I did was the BTR TRUNION upgrade kit. So if you look at this rocker and you look, let me see, at these snap bearings on the side, that's not OEM, that's part of a TRUNION upgrade, and the stock bearings have needles inside of them, and they've been known to explode at high RPMs. So that's a really good upgrade to do while you're already in there and got everything apart. Definitely recommend it to anybody. So what we're gonna do next is we are going to use our spring compressor tool along with this cool little hose I got, which I bought off Amazon, I believe, but this screws into your spark plug hole. What this does, it pumps compressed air into whatever cylinder bank it's going in, and that keeps your valves afloat so that when you change your springs, your valves will not fall into your cylinder block, and then that's just a whole bunch of other stuff that comes with it. You have to pull your heads to get them out. It's something that you don't want to do. So yeah, hopefully this tool works as it should. So we're gonna get started. On this side, I already got all of the new springs installed. So we are going to move to doing this side. As you can see, I have the GM Blue valve springs already installed, but they're about 2 or 3 years old, so we're gonna go ahead and change those. So what we're gonna be doing is using this valve spring compressor tool. So the way that this works is these nuts thread into those holes, and then this acts as kind of like a weight point for it not to flex. So we're going to screw this in, and then we'll move on to the next part. All right, so we got our valve spring compressor tool. So now that we got that set up, we are going to install our air hose. So our air hose is going to hook up to this compressed air right here. So what this is going to do is it's going to push compressed air into cylinder bank, we'll call that number 1 right here, to keep the valves afloat. So when we actually take off our springs and locks, the valves don't fall into the cylinder bank. So what we are going to do is we are going to thread this into the spark plug hole of this cylinder. So now that we got our air hose hooked up, you can kind of hear it. That's that compressed air going into that cylinder. So now what we are going to do, we're going to just slowly torque that down. And as we torque it, you'll feel the valve blocks break from their seats, and then we will be able to get those with a magnetic retriever. So I'm going to show y'all right now exactly what I'm talking about. So I have my magnetic retriever right here. Those are the valve blocks. I'm going to take it. Got one right there. Let's see, got 2. Might need to crank it a little bit more to get out the other 2, and we're just going to put our old ones in our box right here. So let me crank this down a little bit more. There we go. Oh, you don't want to come up. Why is that? Okay, got that one out. Let's see, that one is wedged. So what I'm going to do is grab me a teeny flathead and see, and it just fell. So what I'm going to have to do, kind of do this with one hand, y'all bear with me. Grab that old valve block. So now that we got that there, what we are going to do is slowly take pressure off. We have to remove this black piece of metal that was pushing down on the spring completely, but not the whole tool itself. And we're gonna pull off this whole assembly, put it right there. Now our springs are loose. Take out that spring, take out this spring. We're gonna put them right there. What we're gonna do now is pull off our old valve stem seals. You'll see that their color. So this one is a reddish color, that one is black. So we're gonna pull off the red one first. We're just gonna take our pliers, wiggle it, comes right off like that. Hey, I'm trying. I'm trying. All right, then we got our new valve stem seal right here, super easy to install. We're gonna take a little bit of oil, rub it on there. We're gonna push her down just like that. Super easy, super easy. We're gonna pull off the next valve stem seal. You see that one is like a black. Put that down right there. Then we're gonna grab a blue valve stem seal, get a little oil on it, on the tip, and then we are gonna push that down like so. That's all you need to do. Now we're gonna grab our new springs, both of them, push them down like that. Then we're gonna grab our retainers off of our old springs. Oop. Drop that bad boy. And we are gonna put those retainers on there like so. Now I am going to install back our compressor tool on the new ones, and then we will compress these springs and install our new valve locks. As you can see, we have the spring compressed. Now this is the most challenging part, in my opinion, is seating the new valves locks. I'm gonna start off with one side at a time. So I'm gonna get 2 valve locks. So I'm gonna grab one of them. Be careful with these, they're super easy to drop. And it goes in the groove like so. All right, so got that valve lock in. What I've been doing is taking that flathead, kinda, and using it to create space for the other valve lock. So, grab my second valve lock right here and try to place that. I'm gonna be real with y'all, it's a little difficult to do while filming. So there's not enough space. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna have to ratchet. I'm gonna keep it like this, but I'm gonna have to ratchet down, and hopefully we're able to make enough space for it to go into its groove. I was able to get that one seated, as you can see, but I did not get this one seated yet. But I find it easier if you seat one side first and you take the tension off, then you readjust the tool to better position the retainer, because it has to be centered in there. The valve's not centered in the retainer, then there's not enough space to get both valve locks into where they're supposed to go. So take this flathead, find the groove, make space, kinda. And then I finagle it to get the whole retainer to move to where I need it to. I think there's still a little bit too much tension. Oops, cracking shit. I'm gonna continue to readjust this. I'm gonna need both of my hands to do this, but once I get it readjusted and I'm seated, I'll show you guys the finished product. So one side down, 3 more to go, but I had to finagle this out a little bit. You know, you gotta get a little bit creative with some flat heads to be able to pry and get the retainer centered on the valve stem. So it takes a little bit of time, but once you get going and you get the hang of it, it's not so bad at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of these, continue to move on down the line. Then we will put back on our rockers, torque those, and put everything back together. So next time you see this, they will all be changed. And here we are, y'all. We are back and she is together. I went through, I inspected, make sure no foreign objects fell within the valve's head. And she is good. So now what we're gonna do, we are gonna put our rockers back on. So we need to put our rockers back on. We need to torque them down to 22 foot-pounds. Then we need to rotate the crank 180 degrees and re-torque them again. And then we're good to put everything back together. So let's get into it. This is why you always recheck things. Because I was rechecking my torque value, I noticed that my front right bank rocker kept getting loose, and I didn't understand why. But then I saw why, because the rocker was upside down. So if you see how that one is flat, this one is round, and you can see on the back the flat side is that way. That was installed incorrectly when I did my TRUNION upgrade, so totally my fault 100%, but I'm so happy I caught that before that became a huge issue, like a huge issue. So whew, just one of those things where it pays to double check your work. So now I can correct that. Fortunately, the damage was not too bad. and I got to it before things really got crazy. So, man, just goes to show, always double check your work. Y'all were curious why I was pushing the car back and forth. So the reason for that was my damper, I can't get a bolt on it from here. So in order to rotate the crank to actually make the valves go up and down, I have to push the car back and forth. So if you put it in 6 and you have your spark plugs out, you're able to push the car alone because the car isn't able to build compression without the spark plugs being in. So just something that you should know. I found it to be a lot easier than trying to spin the crank to just move the actual car itself. So with that being said, everything is tight, everything's torqued down. Now we are going to put back in our spark plugs, and we're going to put back on our valve covers, hook everything back up, and go for the first start. Got everything back together again. Now we're about to go for the first start. Make sure nothing crazy happens, but we should be good. Good on oil pressure like we should. Boom. Alternator's working. Waste a little bit of oil on the headers. As you can see, that's just burning off. It'll be okay. But yeah, so that was the valve spring install along with everything else. I hope you found the video informative. If it did, please leave a like. Don't forget to sub, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff, man. But take it easy. I'm out.